Luke, many congratulations. A dominant display there. How would you reflect on that?
Yeah, like you say, dominant display. I think the first 2 sets I was probably, like you say, fully in control. I switched off for a little bit, but yeah, it's my main goal today was to 100% get through the first round, play Mike tomorrow, and yeah, I'm really happy with the win.
Were you a little bit tempted at the end there to go for that 170 check out?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, the fans know, the sort of, everyone knows. I didn't, if it was sort of 2-0 up to me or 2-1 on that last set, I might have just gone for it, but at 2-2, I know how good Lawrence can be, so I didn't want to give him a chance to hit a 180 or 171 or whatever and set it up and me have to come back for the 25, so yeah, I just sort of set it up, give myself a chance at the last double.
You've had a really solid year overall, closing in on a place in the world's top 32. How pleased are you with the progress that you're making right now?
Yeah, I mean, my thing, I think if you look at my sort of career in general, it's always been slow and steady. I think I can offer a lot more. Yeah, it's good. I'm really happy. Like I say, I've made a semis of the European Championships and my first semis of a TV event. But yeah, I can definitely offer more. It's just finding that for me, it's that I can be really good for, say, like a couple of months, and then I might drop off a little bit on the tour or whatever, but I need to find that consistency going forward to then put myself to the sort of level of, say, your top 16s or your sort of top 20s in the world.
So you mentioned playing Mike Decker tomorrow. He's someone who's won a major title this year. What he and Richie Woodhouse have done, how much inspiration has that given you that you can achieve similar things?
Yeah, loads. I mean, I think if you speak to a lot of players, I mean, you look at, say, even Martin Luke and get to the final of the Grand Slam. If you turn around, if you speak to them, they take loads of inspiration off that, because they're going like, look, we know we can play. We know, everyone knows on tour. Everyone knows within a certain bracket of players, everyone can play. So, but being able to go and do it and then take it to the next level is a different thing. So seeing them go on and get to the final, like you say, Richie Woodhouse won the Europeans, Mike Decker won the Grand Prix. Nobody's got that sort of fear of doing it anymore, where it used to be like, get to a certain point, oh, you've got Van Gerwen or you've got Gerwen, Price or someone. I think everyone's sort of can go, right, it could be my time. Cheers.
Just touching on what you said there, Luke, about obviously fear factors and things like that. Have the elite lost that fear factor then, where you say everyone else is now winning tournaments? Do you believe that you can get at these elite players?
I'm not sure they've lost that sort of fear factor. I don't think it's quite as strong as it used to be. I mean, if you go back and you like to your Phil Taylor's when he was flying, and Van Gerwen for me had the biggest fear factor of all. But I think Luke Humphries and Luke Littler are probably, for me, the 2 best players on the planet at the moment. So everyone knows they've got that sort of aura, if you like, where they can go on. But I think more players now are realising if you put some work in and you keep your calm, you go at certain tournaments, anyone can have a good run in a tournament.
The game itself there, did you kind of switch off maybe in that last set, because you were so dominant, your average plummeted, and it almost, was it too easy for you at one point?
I'm not saying it was too. I definitely switched off. I switched off a little bit, thinking I felt so comfortable. I mean, I've put in so much work the last, say, 4 to 6 weeks playing, and I went up and it really showed to start with. I thought, I'm playing lovely here, and I think, like I said, did I win? I think I won 6 legs on the bounce or 7 legs on the bounce. So. Yeah, I definitely switched off, which is my own fault. You should never switch off against anybody. So, yeah, everyone's always learning, I think. So, yeah, I 100% switched off a little bit. So, hopefully, tomorrow I won't do that.
You were the favourite today. Tomorrow you'll probably be the underdog against Mike. Do you approach it differently, and do you prefer playing that underdog role?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't really affect me too much, really. I've played Mike, I don't know, say 6 or 7 times over the last couple of years. Granted, he's obviously gone and won the Grand Prix and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I suppose he's going to be the favourite. My only other thing with the Worlds is if you're not the seed, I've had a game now. So I've had a game. I've gone on the stage. I've played on the stage. I know what the atmosphere is like and stuff like that. So if that is that sort of thing might play into my hands slightly, but I'm going to expect Mike to turn up tomorrow and play lovely. He played lovely at the Players' Championships every week. Yeah, so I'm going to have to play well tomorrow. Cheers.
Luke, you said there about the last 4 to 6 weeks you've put in a lot of work. Just run us through what that looks like and what the preparation's been like for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go on like all year that I practice loads. I practice, but like these last sort of 4 to 6 weeks, I thought, right, I'll do sort of 3 to 4 hours a day. I've been in under practice with Damon Hetter. I've been in under practice with a few other people as well, and it's just more knowing that, especially for somebody that's not like a top, say like a top player, top 16, top 8, for the Worlds, for someone outside the top 32 in the world, if you have a good run here, it can completely change your year, change your life. You all of a sudden get put into the seedings and the rankings for other events and stuff. So I just don't want to leave no sort of stone unturned. I just wanted to make sure I'd done enough work, and I'm not going to come here thinking, oh, I wish I'd have practiced a little bit more, because I'd have been daft.
We talked about the likes of Richie Woodhouse winning a major, Mike Dedeker's obviously in that as well. You mentioned Martin Lukeman making the Grand Slam final as well. When you look at what those players have done, they're in a similar position in the rankings to yourself. Do you look at them as an inspiration, as something that you can reproduce?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can look at it as inspiration sort of thing, but like I've said before, I think any player on tour, sort of, there's so many players that can play well. You've only got to look at, I think, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think this year, Pro Tours, how many Pro Tours have been won, Players Championships have been won by different players? How many, so I mean, at the moment, the tour's very open until you do get to the big sort of, your match plays, your World Championships, all them, and then the top boys will sort of show their class as the events go on. But I'm not saying it's completely open, but there's definitely chances for anyone from 32 to 64 to really have a go if you qualify for these events. Cheers.
Luke, you said that your issue with your game is consistency, bringing that top level week in, week out, and on this big TV stage.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? What do you do when you're away from the hockey to try and make sure that your game is at your B game as a minimum every single game?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think last year for me was the first year where I've managed to sort of like, from my ranking, I've got into every single European event, and I think a lot of players say about the travel and stuff, it's difficult, but I think when you are travelling about and whatever, you need to put in the practice, and you need to practice all the time to be able to go to those events and really sort of take advantage of them all. So I think a lot of it is just generally putting in the practice, putting in the time, and yeah, just putting in the effort and making sure you're putting enough work where you can compete with these top players all the time.
How tough is it sometimes to find that motivation? Because we get a lot of people who always say, I need to put in the practice, but actually saying that and then doing that are two different things, because sometimes it can just be a bit tedious, I would imagine, just throwing out a board when you're not in a competition. Yeah,
I mean, I think you speak to a lot of players, and some players do struggle with just practicing on their own and just, do you know what I mean, make it sort of forcing themselves to sort of practice. But that's when I practice with my brother a lot. My brother plays some darts. He's not the greatest player in the world, but he does play darts. So I'll go around his and practice, and I'll practice with a few other people. But look, if you're not gonna sort of go out and practice or put the hours in, this top level, there's only very few at the top level that will be able to do it naturally. Very, very few. So for the likes of myself and whatever, I've got to go and put in the work to try and get further at the rankings.
Cheers, Luke. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Luke, when you talk about a fear factor or diminishing fear factor in your case, what will it take for you to achieve for your fear factor to disappear altogether and for people to start fearing you, for the other side of the coin to become apparent?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure about me having a fear factor as such. I just think because we play so much now and there's so many European tours, there's so many events, I think everybody plays everybody now a lot more than they used to. So I don't think the fear factor is as high as it used to be, say, when Phil played years ago. Somebody might only play Phil once every 18 months or twice every 18 months. Now players are playing. If you get through to the latter stages, you might be playing the Humphries or Luke Littler or Van Gerwen or Gerwen Price. You might be playing them 5 or 6 times a year. So as much as good as they are, that sort of fear of not being able to beat them, I think it is sort of. It's a bit more of a level where players can go, do you know what? If I can put a good game against them, who knows what can happen?
And just a quick one. I like to think my geography is quite good, but I had to look up Bewdley. I thought it was somewhere in the Midlands, but
it is in the Midlands, yeah.
Severn Valley in it, but
it is, yeah.
It'd be nice to put Bewdley on the map, wouldn't it?
It would be, definitely would be. I mean, we've got some famous people from Bewdley already. Stanley Baldwin used to be the Prime Minister, so he's the biggest man in Bewdley. There's a few other people on Bewdley, so like Robert Plant's from Bewdley, I think, and he lives in Bewdley. So, yeah, I mean, if I can go and have a good run at the Wills and sort of put Bewdley on the map from sort of a sporting side, it'd be brilliant. But yeah, I'm not, like I say, I'm here to sort of do as well as I can, and whatever comes with it's a bonus. Cheers, thank you. Okay, everyone. Lovely, thank you.